Hey everybody, welcome back. This is an update video to my cooling mod for the Nintendo Switch. I'll show you some of the progression I've gone through, and I think we've come up with something that works pretty well. I need to put it through a little bit more rigorous testing phase, but I think we're pretty much to a final product. I want to give a big shout out to Mark, and if I'm saying your last name wrong, I'm sorry, Stolpe, S-T-O-L-P-E, I believe. He is the son of the guy that is organizing the local drone meet here in Columbus, and they do 3D printing and some other things. And he was willing to help me go through, get this from my prototype design into a final product. We still have some minor kinks to work out, but for the most part, I think it's pretty much done. So let me get into and show you guys real quick the progression, and I will show you where we have ended up at. So, it all started off with a piece of paper. And this piece of paper I fit inside the Switch to where I wanted it. I took scissors and an X-Acto knife to cut it out, and this is pretty much how I designed everything around. So we went from this guy next to a physical model. This prototype, it took me a while to cut out of multiple layers of Sintra, credit card stack on the top, an X-Acto knife, a box cutter. It was a rough job, and it actually was my original idea. You can tell there's no bottom to this, and no real plan out the back, not a whole lot of thickness, but overall it worked. From there we moved up, and we have this. Now this is the first 3D printed prototype piece. Slide these guys off. And I'll show you what happened with this and the design that we finally landed on. So rather than having the airflow come in from here, it would come in and it would just be expected to end up here and come down in here into the vents. Well, here's what we have. So we added some ramps here and a ramp here to kind of force the air to come in, and another ramp here to kind of have it take that final leg and aim down. This extra box height on top was because after we got to this point right here, this width had almost no clearance and very little airflow. So even if you could get cold air in, it wasn't going to be much to pull through. So we need some more airflow. I needed to raise the height. Notice it also had to be shrunken in a little bit because it was hitting the back of the USB port. And these had to be cut out in mine, but on this one we simply printed them off this way. The notches, so that when it's in, it can't shift left and right. It actually stays put where you put it. So this one we kind of destroyed to get some other measurements so that we could get something that did work. What we ended up coming up with is the next to final product is this guy. So this is pretty much the final thing. There are a couple very, very minor adjustments that I'm going to be making, but this is pretty much it. So I'll show you here that if we put them top to bottom, immediately you can see a difference. We shrunk the side in because there wasn't really any airflow coming through this side. The width of the box even shrunk down just a hair more, enough that we could clear the back of the USB port because it was actually hitting. We extended the back here out a little bit so that we could cover more of the allow more of the vent to be exposed so that we could actually get more air in rather than covering up the vent. Shortened up the notches here, and I do need to trim off on this one because this is near final. It's not quite there, but I need to trim off this face a little bit here and shrink it back this way just ever so slightly. It's kind of binding when it's sitting inside. So with this piece, I'm going to show you how it goes in. So here is the circuit board. How this goes is this sits upside down. I'm going to show you how it fits against the back of this board. Okay, like this. Sits in just like this. Right there. Just like that. And it was almost a perfect fit. You can see how we have cleared the USB port there. We allow more air inside the box here because we have extra spare room. And the front, this little piece right here, hits up against this guy and holds him in place. You can tell this round cutout where that post is perfect. That's where it lines up and holds in. And these two are on the dock side. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in and show you how this works. Okay. So this is literally meant to be a drop-in. It's just that simple. So let me actually show you the very first, my original mock-up here, which even then was a little tight. And it would sit in just like that. Now that's a long way from this guy. So what we did is, after all this tinkering, and it is a little tight, so just bear that in mind. You notice the top here. Let me see if I can turn this around for you. There we go. This goes in, and you'll see the notches that are right along here, these tiny little pegs, and the notch sticking out here. This literally goes in against those. This back piece, where it drops down right here, sits up against this. And you simply push it down and in. Now, it may not show up on video very well, but these two little pieces right here, let me point with a pen. So these two pieces right here are pushing out a little bit because it's just a little tight. I'm going to shave off the front piece of this, bring the edge back in, and it'll sit nice and clean. So, as it's in here, it's solid. Obviously it doesn't rattle, it doesn't move around. And now you're wondering what happens if you put the circuit board on. Okay, well, I'm not going to connect the backs, but if I put the circuit board in, like this, and just like that. Okay, it's completely on. It has just a little bit of pressure, and that was actually intentional so that it would stay in and not move around. It sits clean. There's no warping on the board. Once you screw everything in, the board still won't warp, so you're good. And you might be able to see right down in here where it pulls in from these vents. So you get a little pull in here, through here, through here, and a little bit of gap in between, but it's not a whole lot. That's really the only restriction. But yeah, so you're pulling in from up top rather than collectively all of the hot air that this circuit board generates that is then encapsulated in the box when you put on the the back cover. So with this new prototype, I'm going to throw in my temperature probe. I'll do another test run on it and see what the temperatures run, see how well it works, and that will be in a future video. But yeah, so this is my current progress. Hope you guys like it. I have yet to decide what I'm going to do about selling these guys. I'm still working out exact prices on manufacturing costs and whatnot, but I will definitely let you guys know in a future update. So yeah, until then, like, share, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you think there might be another change that you'd like to see to this or an improvement. And yeah, that's it. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys in the next video. Yeah, normal intro or outro. I don't know. It's late. I gotta go to bed. Bye.